Fans of Gold Rush have spent years watching Parker Schnabel transform from a determined teenager into one of the most successful miners on television. Viewers saw him operate giant machines, survive brutal mining seasons, and pull millions of dollars worth of gold from the ground. But behind all the success, one question has followed him for years. How much money has Parker Schnabel really made? And more importantly, what has that success actually cost him behind the scenes? Today, Parker is known as a mining boss with an estimated fortune of around $10 million. But what makes his story different from most reality television stars is how young he was when everything began. Long before the fame, before the massive gold totals, and before millions of viewers knew his name, Parker was just a 16-year-old kid carrying responsibilities most adults would struggle to handle. While other teenagers worried about school and friends, Parker was managing equipment failures, water problems, and mining deadlines at Alaska's Big Nugget mine. And the reason that pressure landed on his shoulders so early comes down to one man, his grandfather, John Schnabel. John was not simply handing Parker a business. He was handing him a family legacy. After undergoing triple bypass surgery years earlier, John bought the Big Nugget mine in 1984 as a way to stay active. Over decades, he slowly transformed it into a real mining operation built through hard work and persistence. By the time Parker took over, the mine represented far more than money. It represented the Schnabel family name itself. Parker once admitted that following in his grandfather's footsteps had always been his dream. In fact, that dream mattered so much that he left college after just one semester to return to Alaska and help at the mine. But nobody expected what would happen next. When Gold Rush cameras arrived in 2011, Parker was only 17 years old. Suddenly, millions of people were watching him grow up in real time. They watched him argue with crews, make risky decisions, and push mining operations beyond what many experienced miners thought was possible. At times, it looked like he was gambling everything. But season after season, the results kept improving. His gold totals rose higher every year. In Season 5, he mined over 1,000 ounces of gold. By Season 7, he aimed for an unbelievable 5,000 ounces and came dangerously close to achieving it. Before most people even finished college, Parker was already building a mining empire. But behind the success, the pressure was becoming enormous. And then, everything changed. In March 2016, Parker lost the person who had shaped almost every part of his life. John Schnabel passed away at 96 years old after battling serious health problems for years, including heart issues and prostate cancer. Even in his 90s, John refused to stay away from the mine. He still showed up, still gave advice, still tried to help guide Parker whenever he could. To fans, John became one of the most beloved figures on Gold Rush. Calm, wise, patient. He felt less like a television personality and more like the grandfather everyone wished they had. Producer Ed Gorsuch once called him America's grandpa. But for Parker, John was far more than that. He was the one person who completely understood the emotional weight of mining and the pressure of carrying a family legacy. What made the timing even harder was what was happening in Parker's personal life at the exact same moment. Around the time of John's death, Parker had just met Ashley Ewell, an Australian veterinary nurse he met while visiting Australia. He brought her back to North America so she could experience the mining world with him and become part of the future he was trying to build. But instead of beginning their relationship during a happy chapter of life, Ashley arrived during one of the darkest periods Parker had ever faced. Parker later admitted something heartbreaking during an interview. Her first week in North America, I was burying my grandpa. That single sentence revealed more than pages of explanation ever could. The grief hit Parker hard, even if he rarely showed it openly. Instead of slowing down and processing the loss emotionally, he buried himself deeper into work. Mining became the one thing he could still control. From the outside, everything looked successful. The gold totals kept growing. The business expanded. The television fame exploded. But emotionally, Parker was struggling underneath all of it. And eventually, those hidden struggles began affecting the people closest to him. Ashley quickly became a fan favorite during seasons 7 and 8 of Gold Rush. Many viewers felt she brought calmness and warmth into Parker's stressful world. Even members of the mining crew noticed the difference. Chris Domert later spoke about how Ashley's positive energy changed the atmosphere around camp during difficult seasons. She adapted to the harsh Yukon lifestyle, worked alongside the crew, and handled the unusual reality of dating someone constantly followed by cameras. But despite all of that effort, the relationship slowly began to fall apart. Then, during the opening episode of Season 9, Parker revealed the breakup publicly. What shocked viewers was not just the breakup itself, but the honesty in the way he explained it. He did not blame Ashley. He did not make excuses. Instead, he openly admitted that he had failed to prioritize the relationship. He said Ashley deserved better. Later, Parker explained that he had been carrying emotional struggles he never fully dealt with after losing his grandfather. Mining work distracted him temporarily, but the grief never actually disappeared. It stayed buried underneath years of non-stop work and pressure. At one point, Parker admitted, "I don't think I was in a very good place emotionally last year." That sentence explained almost everything. He was trying to run massive mining operations, break records, carry his family legacy, and manage public fame while privately struggling with grief and emotional exhaustion. For a long time, work became his coping mechanism. But relationships require time, patience, and emotional energy. 3 things mining constantly drained from him. After the breakup, Ashley quietly moved forward with her own life. She removed most reminders of her Yukon years from social media, returned to Australia, focused on her veterinary career, and eventually entered a new relationship. Meanwhile, Parker continued doing what he always did. He worked harder. But here is the part many fans began realizing over time. Parker's lifestyle itself may be one of the biggest obstacles to building a lasting personal life. Mining is not a normal job. Parker spends months every year in isolated northern wilderness, surrounded mostly by crew members and machinery. The work is physically exhausting, mentally draining, and completely consuming. Even during the off-season, he is planning the next operation, organizing equipment, and preparing for another brutal season. Todd Hoffman once admitted that spending half the year away from home destroys many relationships and marriages in the mining world. Parker's situation is no different. The lifestyle demands almost everything from him, leaving very little behind for life outside the mine. And yet, despite the personal sacrifices, Parker's career keeps growing. By 2026, he remains one of the most successful miners in Gold Rush history. Across 15 seasons, his gold totals place him among the top producers the series has ever seen. His estimated net worth sits around $10 million, and he continues developing the Scribner Creek claim in the Yukon, a property he purchased himself. In recent seasons, he even attempted to buy Rick Ness's mining operation, creating tension and drama inside the mining community. But what stands out most now is not just his success. It is how much he has changed as a person. Years ago, Parker was known for his temper. Crew members often saw him frustrated, impatient, and quick to explode under pressure. But recent seasons revealed a different version of him. During one major machine breakdown that threatened millions of dollars in losses, Parker stayed calm. Instead of yelling, he quietly analyzed the situation and immediately focused on solutions. That change did not happen overnight. It came from years of mistakes, pressure, and lessons from his grandfather, who constantly encouraged him to be more patient with people. Now, at 31 years old, Parker has started speaking openly about wanting something beyond mining success. He wants a family someday. He wants a relationship that can survive the pressures of his career. But the big question remains unanswered. Can someone fully commit to both a demanding mining empire and a stable personal life at the same time? That may be the one challenge even Parker Schnabel has not solved yet. The cameras can capture the gold totals, the giant machines, and the million-dollar victories. But they cannot fully show the emotional cost behind that success. Parker built an empire before most people even figured out what they wanted to do with their lives. He became wealthy, respected, and famous at an incredibly young age. Yet underneath all the success, his story still feels deeply human. A young man trying to prove himself, a grandson trying to honor a legacy, and someone still searching for balance between ambition and happiness. That may be why so many fans continue connecting with Parker Schnabel after all these years. Because beneath the gold, the fortune, and the television fame, viewers still see the same determined kid who once stood in Alaska at 16 years old, trying to prove he was ready for the responsibility his grandfather placed in his hands.